Hi, I'm Victoria Grace Howell from Story Tories blog, and welcome So Your Character is from Another Country. Today's guest, and our only guest on the show, is Cassia from Dimensions of Our Universe. Please welcome her in.
Hello.
Hello, Cassia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Have you been having a fun time in Canada with me during this week?
Yes, I have been, though. I've gotten to experience some new things of my own as well.
So yeah, I've been spending a week here in Alberta, Canada, and we've been to Banff, we've been to Edmonton, which is the capital of Alberta, for those of you who don't know. Elk Island.
Oh, yes. The
Yeah.
national park.
Yes, so we went to a lot of places.
We went to 2 national parks while you were here.
Yeah, we did. The first question is, what do you feel is unique to your country? Any landmarks or celebrations?
I know for some celebrations all across Canada, every province has a different celebration that we just had. We had Family Day.
Yeah.
Some people have Louis Riel Day, which is in Manitoba. Family Day is also the week before in BC, I think, and then I'm not sure if they have it the same way, but it's like the third Monday in every February. Every province in Canada has their own national holiday, and you get the day off for school and stuff. So landmarks, I've never been, but I've heard that the Niagara Falls are better on the Canadian side. Rocky Mountains are definitely a landmark.
Yes.
I know that there's Rocky Mountains in the States,
Yeah.
but the Canadian ones are better, and I'm not just saying that. I have seen both. The environment is different all across Canada because we are a large landmass, the second largest landmass for a country in the world next to Russia. I've always been proud of that as a child. I don't know why. We don't have very many people here, though, compared to you guys. So, depends on how, like, the Northern Territories, they're pretty cold all year round, and depending on the season, you'll have either mostly sunshine all the way through the night, too, like in the summer, or it'll be pretty much dark all year. If you go to the West Coast, it's rainy and cloudy a lot. Where I'm from specifically, we do get all 4 seasons, but we do joke that there's only 2, winter and construction.
There's a lot of dryness.
Really dry.
Like, I've had to really super apply my lip balm pretty much this whole trip.
I told you would have to. And then we also have quite a few forest fires because of that.
Well, okay, next question. Tell me about your country's favorite food. What are some of your favorite dishes, do you think? You're holding a Tim Hortons, which is very signature for Canada. Tim Hortons
is definitely one of my favorites. I don't know why. I feel like Tim Hortons is just kind of like a cultural thing. Like, it's almost like if you're a Canadian and you say, you know, I prefer McDonald's coffee, like, you'll be, like, flogged in the streets or something. Bagged milk, that's more the East Coast. Yeah. Which is a thing.
There's a lot of maple stuff here, though.
There is a lot of maple
stuff. Very true. There's a lot of maple stuff. Maple donuts are amazing. Like, you get Canadian maple from Tim Hortons. They're really good. They're cream-filled. They're very good. And they do serve caribou. And Canadians do eat regular bacon, too. They don't just eat Canadian bacon, because we just had bacon, like, actual bacon.
What do people think that we just have Canadian bacon?
I don't know, but I'm just blowing that stereotype out of the water.
Good. We do eat normal bacon.
Yes.
And everyone up here loves it just as much as Americans do.
Okay, tell me about some of your different speech patterns in your country. Slang, idioms, words for things such as biscuits instead of cookies. I know you have a lot of those. We have a lot of differences
talked about this
slang,
a lot.
Which we kind of have made fun of each other, our different ways of calling things here.
A is definitely one of them that I guess a lot of people don't use it right. But you came up with a good way of comparing it. It's used like Americans use right or okay, yeah. But we use a or hey, and I use hey more than a.
Yeah, you do.
But I know my dad uses a quite a bit, and so does my uncle.
To contrary to what some people said, you do use it quite frequently. I don't know if it's more with me around, but you do use it.
No, it's completely natural.
Yeah, because I'll hear you saying like, you know, we could do that later, eh? Or hey, you know. That's pretty much how it goes. But it's not after, like, every sentence, obviously, as you've heard, you know, Cassia talking throughout this interview.
I think a lot of people think that, like, I don't know. Americans think, not all Americans, there's a stereotype that we use it a lot, but then amongst Canadians, there's the other stereotype where we don't use it a lot, but I think we actually do use it a lot. We just don't realize it because we don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And you've been pointing it out, so I've been realizing I actually do say it a lot more than I thought.
How does your country compare to others, like especially the States? like environmentally or politically or culturally? Is there any like differences we haven't talked about?
Definitely politically we're different.
Yeah.
The whole way that our like government is structured is completely different than the States. For one thing, we do have a queen. There's a lot of people that will argue that the queen is pointless. Personally, I think she is a wonderful symbol of our history. We have a prime minister instead of a president. Culturally, the First Nations tribes are quite important to a lot of people up here, and they've become more important. Like, there was a lot of assimilation, and it just ended, actually, I think it was in the 80s, so it's been, or no, 1996 was when the last residential school was shut down. So it's actually pretty recent, our assimilation of the First Nations people, but their culture has become something that we're trying to protect. So you saw when we were in Banff, there was a lot of totem poles, which is actually a pretty big, like if I see a totem pole, I usually think of BC, because they were really big with the BC tribes and the mountain tribes. And the Inukshuks, those are pretty big too.
Which those are little like stone statues that were used as markers to help people not lose their way during the Arctic.
Yeah, when in the
traveling the Arctic. For those who don't know, because I didn't know. Next question. What are some stereotypes about your country that irk you?
The A thing doesn't bother me. I know that that bothers some people. I actually just think it's funny. But the one stereotype that bothers me is the idea that, like, we're all country people, and we all live in the north, and we all know everybody. We don't know everybody. Like, I've heard a couple people, and I'm not picking on Americans here, I just haven't been anywhere else other than America and Canada. But when I've been in the States before, they're like, oh, you're from Canada. Do you know Vicky Smith? And it's like, we do have 33 million people. Like, we aren't teeny. We are a large amount of people, and we don't all congregate in one area.
What media portrays your country badly, be it a movie or book or a TV show? Like, what is something, have you ever seen a show that really, like, annoyed you because they portray Canadian weird?
I know Wolverine is Canadian, and I know we were talking about this a little bit, but he doesn't have as much Canadian pride as I would like. I know there are people out there that don't have a lot of Canadian pride. I don't know if I'm just, like, bizarre, but I actually love being Canadian. So I really like the one part in the movie when they're like, oh, you have to protect your country. Striker. Yeah, like, you have to protect your country, and he's like, I'm Canadian, and drives away. And I was like, yes, because I think, as terrible as it sounds, most Canadians just don't want to be confused with Americans because they like having their own identity. So I like that part about Wolverine. I mean, I guess the one thing that I would hope from anyone that's writing a Canadian is that you don't say we're Canadian and then write us like an American, because there are some distinct differences, and while we are quite similar, there's a few things that can set us apart.
Have you seen any media that portrays your country well, do you think?
Oh, I don't know, because I mean, I guess Canadian shows.
Like Continuum?
Like Continuum. Like, Continuum, if you don't know, it's a science fiction / crime show. It's actually filmed in Vancouver, and I think most of the actors are Canadian. And I actually, fun fact, I actually got to see some of Continuum being filmed when I went to Vancouver last year, which was really cool. It was in Gastown was the street that we were on.
And the last question is, who are your top 3 favorite characters native to your country in books, movies, or shows?
Definitely Kira from Continuum. Actually, I really like Kellogg from Continuum too, but I think he's a terrorist. But he's really cool. I really like Kellogg. I do really like Wolverine, even if he's not, like, completely Canadian. I do really like him.
Well, that finishes up for the question, but to finish up this interview, the cool thing about Tim Hortons is that you can roll up the top and you can win a free stuff for Tim Hortons, which I actually won something on my second Tim Hortons ever. There's a whole method of doing this. You have to roll up the rim.
Please play again.
Oh well. Well, that's the experience of what you do when you get Tim Hortons, is you don't just drink it, you also roll up the top to see if you win.
And then I just have to go back and get another one, and maybe I'll win the car.
Well, this has been interviewing with on Store Toys blog for So Your Characters from Canada.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye!